my free energy charger. I'm going to try to explain the physics of it and prove it scientifically to you how this works. Then you can construct your own. To start off with, this is an earth ground based type of system, and it's also a time based system for charging. So the very first thing I want you to understand is, since we're using earth ground, the energy that comes up out of the earth is AC, and I'm going to prove that to you right now. On this meter I have one of the leads attached to this ground rod that I have outside that window, and what that ground rod is this is a copper wire wrapped around a coat hanger a couple of times, and then the coat hanger shoved down in the ground a couple of inches. So that's this wire. I have the meter lead attached there, and here is the other meter lead. Now let me switch the meter on, and we see that we have, it looks like some negative on here, and it's only in millivolts. But let's switch this to AC and see what happens. Oh, we have 13 volts AC. Well, that's pretty good, except this other wire is not attached. So evidently that energy is moving up from the ground through the rod, through the wire, onto this meter lead, and we're reading the voltage here. Let me just touch that and see. I'll tap here, and you see that difference when I tap it? Okay, so we need to attach this somewhere. If that's a ground rod, and that's earth ground number 2, let's put a earth ground number 1. Okay, I could attach it over here maybe. This is a grounded appliance, and that's a different earth ground rod than that one is. So earth ground 1 and earth ground 2. This would be earth ground 1. Here is the difference, the magnet. Now you can watch, and I'll move the meter over here. Okay. And you can see the values change around. It's no big deal. Now, what we want to do is come over here and ground that, and I'll try to get it all in the same picture. We can watch it now. Tap this over there, and we see we have 14 volts. I'll disconnect. You see it drops back down. Attach it again. Goes back up. There we go. Drops back down. There it is. See how I'm doing that? Okay, so that's AC scale. But these magnets are a different story. When we come up here to them, I'm going to attach this there, and we'll measure that. Now, you see where I'm touching those magnets, and what do we have? We have 80 volts. AC. I'm touching right there. I'm going to disconnect from there, and you'll look. See there? We're back down to that. Let me try to get the magnets in the picture as I do it. There you go. We're back to the 80 volts. And disconnect from that. Okay. So we have 80 volts AC. Well, let's use a full-wave bridge rectifier. Here's one right here. Now, to prove to you these magnets are making the difference, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this wire behind those magnets. Now, you see how I've done that? I just have that wire behind those magnets, and they're holding this bridge rectifier up in the air. Okay? Now, let's attach this earth ground. This is earth ground 1 on this. That wire is touching that, and it goes down to the full wave bridge rectifier, but we don't have anything attached on the other side of the AC bridge. So, let's put the other earth ground here on the other side. Now we have our 2 earth grounds. So this is earth ground 1 on this side of the bridge. On this side of the bridge is earth ground number 2. Therefore, we're getting DC output. If you'll remember, that was at 80 volts AC. Okay, now we're going to switch the meter to DC, and it's not attached right now. We're going to go over here on the DC side. Of the bridge output. Okay, now here I have a capacitor and I have it jumper shorted. And we're going to read the voltage on this capacitor and this system here as DC. So we see that the jumper system is working just like it's supposed to. Now I'm going to unjumper. Actually, I'll take the capacitor completely off for you. And we'll measure just the pure raw DC output being rectified. AC 80 volts is what's going across between number 1 and coming across from number 2. We measured that at 80 volts. Now, the DC is putting out rectified AC to DC, 57 volts DC. Let's switch the meter to current, and we see we have 32 microamperes. We have voltage DC and current DC equals power DC. Then we use that power and collect it over time to charge up the capacitor. Now we'll place the capacitor upon the bridge. The negative stripe is right here. That goes to the negative side of the bridge on the null post, or the negative, whichever you prefer to call it. So we have that attached. I still have the jumper on. Oops, I did have it on. Let me put it back on there. Okay. Now I'm going to place the positive onto the positive post. And we should show 0 volts because we have our jumper on. I'm going to unjumper now, and we'll watch it begin charging the capacitor. There we go. Now you see the AC coming up from the earth on both rods, so that is 2 different ACs. And then both of those are being converted to DC. And the capacitor is charging. And that will continue to rise until such time that it meets the total power that the earth itself is giving out as AC energy coming up the earth rods on earth rod number 2 and earth rod number 1. And a full wave bridge rectifier across those 2. Right there's that bridge rectifier, and the DC out is here, going to the meter. And we're measuring the capacitor that's across the DC output. And you can see it's continuing climbing on up. Remember a while ago, I told you that these magnets make a difference, and they are very important. And I'm going to prove that to you. Now let me jumper this cap back. We may see a little spark discharge, but it probably won't be very big. I'll try to get it. Well, it's hard to see it through the camera. Okay, it did discharge, and it's recharging now. Now I'm going to jumper it. remove the capacitor. Okay, so we're measuring strictly the AC being converted to DC output. Real live time, right before your very eyes. Okay, now, I want to make a difference by taking this wire and placing it between two magnets, and then have it attached. So give me just a second. It's kind of hard to do with one hand here. I'm going to separate those magnets. I'm going to place this wire between them. Now I'm going to slide that magnet on top. Okay, now you see the wire sandwiched in between those two magnets. The energy from the Earth coming up on Earth ground 1 on this side over here now meets the metal right here. That's the sheet metal. The magnet is attracted to the metal. This is attached to the bridge rectifier on the AC terminal, and that is AC wire number 1. That's this wire. Attached to the AC terminal, comes up between the two magnets. As I have indicated here, magnet number 1, magnet number 2, the wire sandwiched between them. The energy flows up here, goes through there, is blocked on the bridge from going there. It must go through that diode and go this way. It cannot go there. It's being blocked by that diode. It has to go to the capacitor. Now, over here on this side, earth ground number 2, outside there, coming up on this side of the bridge, simply goes straight through that diode and there on the capacitor. It has to do it. It's blocked here, and it cannot go there. It's blocked there. So its path is straight from Earth, straight through the diode to the cap. Notice over here on this side, though, the energy moves up as AC to the metal, through the magnet, through the wire to get to here, and this magnet is also attached to that wire. So the energy that's whatever you want to call it, the energy goes here and is blocked. It cannot go this way. It has to go through that diode. And then that one blocks it, so it has to charge the capacitor over time. And when we look and see the difference, the other was 55 volts. Now that it's between there, we have 74 volts. Pure raw DC output. AC converted to DC. Let's switch it to the current. Oh, now we have 294 microamperes. Okay, so we have current and voltage equals power. It does not matter. We're going to charge a capacitor anyway, so it'll be charging up over time. Let's place our cap back on over here. The negative onto the negative, and the positive of the cap onto the positive. Okay, the jumper, we'll take it off and let it start charging. Just as well ago, let me switch it back to DC. Okay, it's zeroed out. Let's unjumper and watch it start charging. Now you see our charge rate is much faster. So that you can see that this energy is real, that we're collecting over time. Let me discharge this. There you go. And you see the capacitor start recharging. The Earth gives its AC energy because the sun striking the Earth, heating it up, causing climate upon the face of the earth, along with the stars at night that hit the earth. Always, they're turned on 24/7, and so is this, because the earth is absorbing that cosmic energy and changing in value and creating all of our climate 24/7. We are extracting that energy in a small amount, of course. That's a coat hanger for a ground rod. It doesn't have very much cross-sectional area for the energy to flow through. But the magnets are what make a difference. I've tried it with neodymium. It does not work as well with them as ceramic magnets. And there's that cap charged up, and I'll show you that that energy is real. Once again, we'll discharge this. You've seen that. There's the capacitor recharging. You can use this energy to charge a supercapacitor. Let's say it's a 2.5 volt capacitor. We're already up to 34, 35 volts, so we can charge a supercapacitor to 2.5 volts, I'm fairly certain. And then you collect that energy into the supercapacitors. Now, if this were the supercap on this free energy system, then we simply attach a DC to DC converter. This one, every once in a while I use my Joule Thief booster, which is a DC to DC converter, and it works just fine. What I usually do is put this little double A battery across the positive and negative of this with the capacitor, so I have a cap that. That becomes my input to my little Joule Thief box here. And then the output of the Joule Thief is higher voltage boosted out. This battery will drop down, and the displacement current or displacement power of the system will go into my Joule Thief. It'll be about close to 1/2 of a volt is what this power right here will drop down to about 1/2 of a volt constant, and that's enough for my Joule Thief to put out about 9.5 volts or something like that. So 1/2 of a volt input, 9.5 volts output from my Joule Thief. You can do the same thing. If this were a supercapacitor instead of this little battery, and your DC to DC, if you use buck boost, you can push this high voltage down and, make it into current on a buck boost. If you have a need for higher voltage on your buck boost, then of course you just turn your constant current knob or your variable resistor to put out the voltage you want. If you wanted it at 4.2 to charge your lithium batteries, that's fine. This system works 24/7 and will deliver the input to your buck boost system. You just put your charge upon a super cap and attach your buck boost to your positive and negative here, and that'll be your input of your buck boost. You can change the value as constant voltage output and as constant current output. And the displacement of energy that you're using is replaced by this system into your supercapacitor and charges up, just like that's doing. I hope that you can understand the energy of AC coming up two ground rods, two different ground rods, between a bridge rectifier converting to DC output, storing the energy either in a cap or a battery